So what's wrong with life is a destination kind of theory? What's wrong with that? Yeah, on the that destination, and the destination could do what? What might the destination be, for example? Where you're focusing on the destination, what might it be? What's a typical destination sometimes? Rich, good, certain amount of money, married, children, get a house. And what happens when you get to that destination? Purpose is gone. And the destination isn't the purpose, but we should have some milestones. I do agree with that. But something is about the journey. Now, you remember me saying to you before about Stephen Covey and his ladders against different buildings. So you're climbing up a ladder across against the building, and when you get to the top of that ladder, what sometimes happens before you can get on top of the building? You get knocked down, and you go all the way back to where? To the start. And what do you have to do after that? Get back onto the ladder. And we can continue to keep getting back on that ladder and climbing up that building's wall until we get on top of the building. And some of us, what do we do before we even get to the top of the building? When we get knocked down a certain amount of times, what do? You give up, you say, no, there's no point in me trying with this. I ain't gonna never get there. What's the point? Some of you just stop on the ladder. You never get to that destination. The destination could be new job. The destination could be marriage. The destination could be all the things that we've just spoken about. How many of you had a dream and you've given up on the dream? When I was young, I was going to do this. When I started out, I was going to do that. How many of you have got a dream and you've actually given up on the dream? You said, you know what? It ain't going to happen for me now. Most of us have somewhere. Now, this is the scary thing about the ladder. Some of us do actually get to achieve that dream. We get to the top of the ladder, then we realize that it's against the wrong wall. So we take our whole life, some of us, to get to that destination. Then we realize when you get to the top of the building, we're on the wrong building. So I've been trying all of this time. I've been knocked down. I've been climbing up, been kicked back down. And you know that I like a scripture where it says that something about it comes with that toil and hard work. That scripture I talk about in Proverbs. The blessings of the Lord maketh rich, and it adds no sorrow with it. And the reason I like that scripture, because sometimes the reason why we're getting kicked off the ladder and it's so hard to get to where we want to get to is because we shouldn't have been on that ladder in the first place. We should have been on a different ladder going up a different building. So I want us to help us to think about the journey and the correct building. So I believe we've all got a unique calling. We've all got a unique calling. So I wanted to give you a definition for what I mean by it. I'm going to give you out some handouts. If I'll give you them now. So you don't need to read these yet, but just turn on the back so you can write a definition for me. And I want it in 5 lines. So the first line is use what you are gifted at. Thank you. Use what you are gifted at. That's line 1. To do what you love to do. So use what you are gifted at to do what you love to do, making a contribution in the world, so the first line, use what you're gifted at to do what you love to do, making a contribution in the world, whilst working diligently, whilst working diligently as you are called by God. It's combat then. So use what you're gifted at, do what you love to do, making a contribution in the world whilst working diligently as you're called by God. Now, these are important because I'm going to develop a little framework for you. So I want you to understand the key parts of the framework. So the first part of the framework talks about passion. So write passion down. The second part talks about pleasure. The third, provide. Paid. And then finally, purpose. Paid. The fourth one is paid. So I want to take us on a journey of what your purpose is. I want to talk about your passion, what is pleasurable, how you provide, how you get paid, and what you're called to do by God. And as I said, as you're learning, I want you to think about how we are teaching as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements that we want to do some work on. Everybody got that? So you're going to bear with me just for about 5 minutes or so. We'll get the framework sorted, and then we can start working on our first statement. Did everyone get those 5 things down? I'm artistically challenged, so you have to bear with me. So we've got a little bit of a diagram there, and I want you to put passion, pleasure, provide, and paid. But you're going to put it like this. Yours will look a little bit neater than mine. And then you're going to put a little circle like this here. And you're going to put little circles like that there. Down here, I want you to put gift. What do I mean by gift? What am I saying gift? Good. Skill. What kind of skill? What kind of skill? Is it a gift that everybody's got? It's a gift specific to me. Okay? So I want you to think about what is specific to me in this gift. And we're going to get this diagram down, then you'll see how it all comes together. So gift, or we sometimes say talent. You've heard of us talk about talent in the Bible, and we use an analogy for that. And this might be what we love to do. Everybody got that? On the next one, where we've got pleasure, I want you to put on here contribution. And in my little diagram, the passion is those two, and the pleasure is those two. Does that make sense? So passion is a product of them two, and pleasure is a product of them two. Make sense? Down here is work. So provide is a product of which ones? Work and contribution. Sorry? This love, to do, contribution. In here, we might solve problems. Right. So my purpose is using what I'm gifted at to do what I love to do, whilst make a contribution in the world, but working diligently as I'm called by God. Does that make sense? We want to find a way to get to that definition. So in this little diagram, I recognize that some people, and if I took it on a journey, we sometimes in life when we're younger, we start and we focus on being passionate. So we look at what we're gifted at and what we love to do, and we just do that. And I actually recommend that young people, they don't really think about where work is. They don't really think about contribute. They just think about what do you love to do? What are you gifted at? And just pursue that as much as you can so that we can eventually find out what you're going to achieve in life. Does that make sense? So some people actually stay there all of their life. Give me some examples of somebody who's got a gift and they love to do it and they stay there all of their life in a negative way. Tell me some examples where you might see that. Someone likes to kind of that, but I'm more thinking, let's say someone was a poet. Did you know it? And I didn't know it. And they love to speak. They're actually very good at it. They're gifted in it. And they love to do it. But they don't get any remuneration for it. Or they may be a singer or some kind of athlete. They love to do it and they're good at it. But do they get any work out of it in terms of financial remuneration? Are they able to contribute to society in a big way? They may be an artist and a few people look at their work and say that's really good, but they're not able to sustain a standard of living. And I might see those same people 20, 30 years later and are still doing those same things and still not contributing and still saying, I love what I do and I'm gifted in it. And I'd agree with them, but sometimes you've got to grow up. Does that make sense? So I think as young people, do that as much as you can so you can find out what you're good at. But eventually you're going to have to move down here somewhere. And this is where you love to do it, but you're giving back to society. You're giving back. You're solving problems. Whether you're entertaining, whether you're doing an accountancy or bookkeeping or whatever it might be, we sometimes move down here. So it's more than passion. It's still pleasurable to me because I love to do it and I'm giving back. Does that make sense? But sometimes I'm here and it still doesn't give me enough to make a living from. I love it. I'm contributing to others, but I can't get paid for it. Has anybody been there in life? Can you think of people who are doing vocations, or even that vocation doesn't give you enough remuneration for the standard of living that you want? Now, there's another set of people who are giving back to society, solving problems, and they're working really hard. So they're sustaining a standard of living. But they don't love it, and it's not even their gift. Has anybody been there? And I think this is what you're talking about, where you're just doing a job for the sake of doing the job. People are benefiting, you're making remuneration, but you don't love it. Does that make sense? So some people go on this journey in life. So I may love to and be good at mentoring, but I can't make any money out of it. It may be giving back to society because I love it. I'm not really that good at it. That was me in accountancy. I was somewhere around here, I was gifted, not really, I was okay, I think. I like figures, I'm giving back, and I could make a bit of money in it. Does that make sense? Now, over here, this is where you are working and you're gifted at it, so you get paid for it. So some of us now are getting paid a reasonable remuneration for the job that we are doing, and it's the thing that we're gifted in. So we're almost at that very, very good stage. But what would I think was the best place to be? Where would I think is the best place to be? Excellent. Would you agree that that's the best place to be? What's that circle's telling me? We've got gift, we've got love to do, we've got giving back to society or solving problems, we've got work, being paid, and all of it is in that circle there, and I call that what do I call that? Yes. How is it? I wonder if it's open. Who's a young man? You sure? It's probably the windows, something open. Just shut it back. Thanks. So this last one here is purpose. So I've taught before and I've worked on letting people understand to get to your purpose, to get to the sweet spot, you've got to find the thing you love to do, the thing you're good at, and the thing that you're paid for. But I think this 4 quadrants helps us to understand what purpose really is. Now, how many of you have been able to get to a place where you think, I love to do it, I'm good at it, it remunerates me at a tremendous amount for my family, and I'm contributing to society in some way or solving problems. And has anybody got there? Yeah? That's your sweet spot. So that's not a destination, is it? This is a journey that I try and do every single day. How can I describe that? How can I say, I know that my purpose in life is to, and then describe that sweet spot. And then I know that every day I'm living this sweet spot, it means I'm doing all of these things. That's my objective for us to do in the next half an hour. Okay? How can we find that sweet spot? And I'm going to give you a little exercise afterwards that you can take on for homework to help you out. So, who's up for finding their sweet spot? Put your hand up, please. Yes. First thing to do, this is just a warm-up. I want you to say who you are and tell me who you are. So, father, brother, sister, cousin, who are you? Who are you? Tell me some of the things that you are. Everybody say one thing. Who are you? Father, mother, daughter, wife, good, sister. And before carry on, I want you to think of another label that you might have as well. Okay? And I want you to come up with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 labels very quickly. So what would like the labels be that all of you've got? Your profession might be one label. Anything else? Something in the family? Cheers. Anything else? Something you like doing? So I could say I'm a father, I'm a minister, I'm a teacher, I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm not a sister, I can't be a sister, I can have a sister, innit? But I'm like any of them. We're all of them, but I'm none of them. Who am I? Am I really who I am? Thanks. Am I really who I am? Is that who I am? The titles. But do I have to fulfill those titles? Yeah, I still have to hit those labels, but they're not who I am. But they are who I am in certain circumstances. It's not that simple, is it? Because I am a father and I am a son. And I can score myself at my fathership and my sonship and my brothership. Wouldn't you agree? And I'm boss and I'm minister and I'm all of these things, but that is not who I am. So who am I? Am I really who I am? Am I all I ought to be? Who am I? Am I really who I am? Am I all I ought to be? So for now, when I say, who are you? I just want to say your name. So who are you? Say your name. Who are you? And when you say that name afterwards, I want it to say who you are just by saying the name. And it won't say father, son, brother. So, yeah, it will be who you are. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you say your name, you're going to speak into existence who you are. We're going to get to who it is in a minute. But for now, who are you? I know what to say it powerfully. Who are you? Now, what are you gifted at is my second question. What are you gifted at is my second question. So you say who you are, and then I want you to think about what you're gifted at. So for those who came a little bit after time, what we're trying to do is work out who our purpose is. And our purpose is the intersection of our gifts, what we love to do, how we contribute to society, the work we do, and all of that pulled together is what God has called us to do. We're trying to get to what that purpose is. So the first thing is, who am I? You say, I am Carl. Then, what are you gifted at? I want you to say it in one word. What is it that you were put on this planet to do uniquely that no one else can do it the way you do it? What's the first thing that comes to mind? And you're just saying it to yourself. You're saying it out loud, but you don't have to say it out for everyone to hear. But I want you to say it out loud now. So who are you? Say your name. What you gifted at? So say what you gifted at. Then I want you to say, what do you love to do? What do you love to do? I want you to think of an activity that you love to do. So I'm going to say, who are you? You say your name. I'm going to say, what you gifted at? You're going to tell me. Then I'm going to say, what do you love to do? That's the third one. What do you love to do? Say it now. What do you love to do? Then the fourth thing I want you to think about is who do you do it for? In an ideal world, who would you do it for? So the first one is, this is my name. The second one is what I'm gifted at. The third one is I love to do. And the fourth one was, who would I do it for? So let's do that. The two previous ones, the thing that you love to do and the thing that you're gifted at, you're now thinking, who would I do it to? Okay? So, who are you? What are you gifted at? What do you love to do? Who do you do it for? Okay. Now, we're nearly there. We're nearly there. The next one is, what do they need or what do they get from what you do? So we've described what you're good at, what you love to do, who you're doing it for. What do they get from what you do? What do they need from what you do? What difference are you making? What problem are you solving? So we're just projecting here for a minute. So first thing, who are you? What are you gifted at? What do you love to do? Who do you love to do it for? Who do you do it for? What do they need, or what do they get, or what do you solve? And then the final thing, what changes in this world or changes for them as a result of what you do? What changes as a result of what you do? What changes? What's the impact? What are you making? And we're going to go through this, and you might see that the words change slightly, but it's the first clue to our purpose. That's all I'm doing here. I'm just getting your brain to think a little bit differently about what your purpose is. So again, we're just engaging the right brain more. We're not thinking too much about it. We just want to use this as a mechanism to get ourselves to something. So it might start to change now that you heard all of the questions. You might start to go, okay, I'm getting this now and I'm seeing where it's going. It's taking me somewhere. So first of all, who are you? What are you gifted at? What do you love to do? Who do you do it for? What do they need? What do they get? What do you solve? And how do they change as a result of what you do? Okay, can you just write down those 5 or 6 statements for yourself until you get to a place where you think, I like this. This is kind of making me feel somewhere close to or a clue to where my purpose is. Now, has anybody got a statement that they don't mind reading out that they didn't have before today that you think, actually, I like this. This is taking me in the right direction? Has anybody got anything they wouldn't mind sharing? Everybody shy? And it's literally going to say, my name is Carl. I love to teach. I help to transform people's lives by the teaching that I give them and blah, blah, blah. It's just to get to that. Anybody got an idea of their first statement? I'll remind you. Number 1 is your name. 2 is what you're gifted at. 3 is what you love to do. 4 is who you do it for. 5 is what you solve or save or what they get. And then 6 is how do you change as a result? What's the impact you're making? One person, don't be shy. Your first draft, because it's going to develop after this, but this is just your first draft of it.
I'll do it. I've got the mic anyway.
So who are you?
Adam,
What are you gifted at?
talking to people,
What do you love
Motivate
to do?
motivating people, inspiring them.
Excellent. Who do you do it for?
Young people and adults who've never been given the opportunity to know they had a potential.
Excellent. And what do they get, or what do you solve?
A fresh start and the opportunity to live their best life.
And then finally, what's the change as a result of what you do?
Having a vision for their life, being motivated, and knowing their why.
Excellent. Can you see how that statement is a purpose statement? That does he live that as a destination? You can live that when?
Every single day.
Every single day. Give him a round of applause. How many of you have got a purpose? So I started by asking at the beginning, how many of you got a purpose statement? And we didn't have many hands. But can you see you can all get there? That's the first stab, just after a few minutes as to where we get to. Now, if we turn to the little booklets now, I'm going to give you another method of getting to the purpose statement so you can go back and work on it. So what we're going to do is we're first going to go through these questions very quickly. What we're going to do is go through these very quickly. Now, some of you are going to want to engage your left brain, the left hemisphere. What's that side of the brain do? Can you ever remember? Analyze, calculate, there you go. Reason. Anything else? What does the right brain do? Dream, creative. Sorry? You haven't got the. Oh, that's it on the back. Turn it off. That's it. So, what I said I wanted to do. So what I said I want you to do is suspend the left brain and engage the right brain. So I don't want you to get too much into the logic. I've got to analyze this. I want you to just come straight to mind. We're going to answer some questions very quickly, and you're going to see how this develops a purpose statement. We're going to try and do it literally in about 10, 15 minutes max. That means I just want you to go quick. So the first thing, I want you to go to your values page. Can you see the values one? All them boxes. I want you to choose 6 very quickly. Which are the 6 most important values to you? Sorry. Should you all get the same values? Are there some right and wrong values? Any 6, only 6. And then when you've got your 6, I want you to do 1, 2, and 3. And then Patrick, I want you to write down Becky's on your sheet, and Rebecca, I want you to write down Patrick's. And when you go home tonight, you can see what he put down. And that's it. That's true with you and Marcy as well. So don't look at each other's and see. Write down what you think his top 3 values were. You write down what you think Marcy's top 3 values were. Take this home to your significant other. Because there's no right or wrong, is there? This is just who that person is. So once you've got the 6, I want you to just put 1, 2, and 3. So you're going down even further to 1, 2, or 3. Do you need another one up there? Have you shared each other's? Yeah. So guess each other's values as well. The top 3. Right, has everybody got 3 values? Remember I said just right brain for now. Just get them out quickly. We're going to find another way of finding this out anyway. Does that make sense? Now, turn over the page. Power question number 1. How would you spend your time if you only had 6 months to live? Try and think about the things you'd enjoy spending your time doing. So you just found out, I've just got what figure can I give you? 10 million? 20 million? I want to give you 20 million. You've spent your 20 million. You've been around the world. You've done all the things that you want to do. And now you've got 6 months. How would you spend your time? And your right brain now, your left brain is not thinking, you're just going, right, I'll do this, this, and this. How do you spend your time? What would you do? Who do you do it with? And this is how quick we want to do it. That's it. That's all I want you to write. I want you to go to it, and we're going to go to question 2, because I'm trying to get you to engage. You are now a very old person walking with a school child that asks you, what are you most proud of about your life? So I want you to project into the future. I want you to think about the things that you're proud of, the things that you've hoped to achieve in your life. So if you haven't done them yet, and you're thinking about what kind of things I might want to achieve, I want you to write those down. What are you most proud of that you achieved in your life? So you're thinking about the journey. You say, I'm proud of this. Write it down. Number 3, I know it's speeding you up, but what do I do naturally, easily, and effortlessly? What is it, the thing that I can do that other people find difficult, that other people find, and you find it easy? And you're thinking, why would they find that so hard? Number 4, what do you love to do? What do you love to do? You just love spending your time doing this thing. Number 5, make a list of things that you believe makes you unique. What makes you different? What makes you different to other people? What are the things that you say, you know what, this is where I'm particularly special, particularly different from other people. This is... We're a third of the way through. Is your brain hurting you? Number 6, turnover. What are the 5 things that you value most in your life? What are the 5 things that you value most in your life? Page 6, sorry. Oh no, you can, and it might overlap. So some of these questions you might find, yeah. What are the 5 things that you value most in your life? Number 7 is a little bit like the one I asked you about if you had 6 months to live, but it's a little bit different now because you can go past the 6 months. So you've spent all the money you need to spend, to be honest. What would you do and how would you spend your time generally now? This is number 7. How would you spend your time? And are you with me? Number 8, looking back over all the things you've done, what is giving you the best feeling of importance? What's the thing that you've really said, that made me feel important, that made me feel good about myself? What might that thing be? I said at the beginning, I want you to look at it from 2 or 3 perspectives. One is for yourself. Another one is to teach other people. So as you're thinking about this exercise, once you've done it yourself, you're going to think about, how can I share this with someone else? Share some of these principles. So I want you to think of it from 2 perspectives. Number 9, what would you do if you knew that you couldn't fail? What would you try and achieve? What would you go for if you knew you couldn't fail? This one's a really powerful one. If you knew that I could go for that thing and I couldn't fail, what would it be? What would I try and achieve? Number 10, select one major purpose in life. One major purpose in life. And then we're into the last third. You've done really well. Number 11, make a list of strengths, things that other people have told you're good at. So what are your strengths? Write down on strengths in this: teaching, speaking, manual, music, creativity, understanding people, networking, making people happy, making people feel sad. Number 12, the thing I would like to see happen most on the planet is. Are we on 13? What do you feel uniquely qualified to teach, share with other people? What do you feel uniquely qualified to teach or to share with other people? And you're going to be rewarded for your diligence in answering these questions in the next 5 minutes. Number 14, what are you doing when time just seems to slip away and you're not aware of it? What's happening? You think, whoa, where did that go? Where did that time go? It just went like that. What were you doing? And then the final one, what would I like to do for people that meets their needs, solves a problem, or just adds value to their lives? What is it I would love to do or like doing that just helps people, solves problems, adds value to them? What is the thing that I love to do in that regard? So now we can pull it all together. So the first way or the first draft of our purpose statement is when I ask you, what is your name? What do you love to do? So on and so forth. We're now going for another draft of this purpose statement by, if you turn over the page, it's got method 1. Can everyone see that where it says method 1? And what I want you to do is, it says, first of all, review your answers to questions 1, 4, 7, and 14, and choose one thing from this list that you would do. So I know that my purpose in life is to, and I want you to look at 1, 4, 7, and 14. And that's going to give you a clue. Does that make sense, everyone? So look at the answer to question 1. Look at the answer to question 4. Question. There you go. And see what clue it gives you about what you should be doing. 1, 4, 7, and 14. And you're going to go, I know that my purpose in life is 2. This may be confirmation of what you said before when we said the first statement, or you may find something different. So question 1 was all about how do you spend your time. 4, what activities. 7, if you won £10 million. And 14, where time slips away. Is there a bit of a theme there for any of you? Is it giving you a guidance to say, actually, this is where time slips away. This is what I love to do. But choose one thing from that for me. So you'll be saying, I know that my purpose is to, once you've chosen from those questions. Okay? 1, 4, 7, and 14. Well, choose a couple then, and we can. We'll see how that works out in a bit, and you might delete one after. Yeah. I remember it's a work in progress. We're just trying to find a way of getting to this sweet spot here. We're trying to find a technique to get us to that sweet spot. Number 2, I want you to read the answers to questions 3, 5, 11, and 13, because it said by using my what unique gift is. So you're looking at 3, 5, 11, and 13, and that's helping you to say, oh, I'm going to use this. I'm using this skill. So look at 3, 5. So 3 was, what do I do naturally? What do you think makes you unique? What you're unique to teach? And what your strengths are. Can you see all of them are giving me a clue as to what your gift is? Okay? So 3, 5, 11, and 13. So I should now have, from the first question, I know that my purpose is to blah. I know that I'm unique in this. Then the third one is, I want you to look at questions 2, 9, 10, 12, and 15. And you're answering the question to accomplish this, to do this. So questions 2, 9, 10, 12, and 15. Is everybody following how we're doing this? So has everyone got an answer to those first 3 bits? I know that my purpose is to, by using my, and to accomplish this. And then finally, I want you to review the answers to 2, 6, and 8 and write down your top 3 values. So you did a values thing at the beginning, then I asked you in 2 or 3 other ways, and I want you to now come up with and say, actually, these are my top 3 values, and I want you to answer the question, I live by the following principles, by looking at your top 3 values. I live by the following principles. How many of you have got a purpose statement now that you don't mind sharing? I need 3 at least. So I'll write something down because I might just choose you now. So I know that my purpose is to, by this. in the spirit of sharing, I first did this exercise for myself some 20 odd years ago. I have quite a detailed purpose statement, but this first bit of it I'm going to read hasn't changed in all that time. So I've been living, and it says here, I, Carl George, know that my purpose in life is to have a tremendous impact on other people's lives by my teaching, my example, and my achievements. That was the first part of my bigger purpose statement. So I can live that when? Every single day. And it gives me a standard that I've got to live by as well. There's a code of conduct that goes with it, and there's certain behaviors and standards that I've got to live by. But it starts with that purpose statement. Make sense, everyone? So can I get some purpose statements? Now, this is just a journey. We've only spent an hour, not even an hour yet, on coming up with a purpose statement. So this is something you're going to go back, look at in more detail. And if you read the rest of it, I've got 2 or 3 different methods of coming up with a purpose statement in that little document. So this is just a journey. So before I conclude, can I get 2 or 3 purpose statements?
Again, oh, sorry. My purpose is to continuously improve myself, to empower others, and to develop young people.
Give a round of applause. And what I would do with this in a much longer exercise is start to challenge bits of it and see where you're going to do it and how you're going to do it, so that we get it tighter and tighter and tighter, and making sure that it's good. But I like that. I've got 2 more to get. Who's next? And you're only got to write down what's on your paper. Don't be shy. 2 more. Yes, you can.
Okay. My purpose is my educational achievement and my relationship with Christ as a Christian, and living by certain principles. So my sexual honor, truth, and a good integrity.
Excellent. Give her a round of applause. And 1 more. 1 more. Come on then, Vicky. Go on. That's okay. That's good.
I, Rebecca Linton, know that my purpose in life is to use my gift of song to lead people into worship and give hope to those who hear my voice. I'm confident and relentless and refuse to give up in the face of adversity. I'm passionate about sharing my journey to motherhood through word and song to give hope to those in need.
Round of applause. And that's so it's not finished. Excellent, excellent. And those of you who don't know, one of the reasons I'm in church now is Rebecca's gift of song. Because when I came to New Jet all them years ago, and I heard the worship, something happened to me that had never happened before. And I need to come back and make it happen again. The Holy Spirit. So that's part of the purpose. I can see it manifest. Okay. No, but anybody else? One last one? Right. So to conclude, what we're trying to do is find out how we can make sure that we get to this sweet spot. And I want you to remember the sweet spot, because I want you to help other people to understand that, number one, just working out of your gift and what you love to do, your passion is not enough. Does that make sense? Because we can be working in our passion, but it doesn't contribute financially. It doesn't give us contribution to society sometimes. This isn't good enough either, where we're working on what we love to do and we're solving other people's problems. Because sometimes it means that we're not achieving the things to support our families. So I could be here singing and dancing. And did you know I used to have a break dancing group? I used to have a dance group. And I used to love doing it. And I would say I was gifted at doing it. It's like stripping us the breakdance I used to do now. So I was passionate about it. And I don't think that would have ever remunerated me to the level that I wanted to, although I do know some people who went into dance. Does that make sense? So I had to make a shift and I'd say, right, what do I love to do? And I can still give back, which gives me some pleasure. That's where I was in accountancy. I liked it. I wouldn't say it was my gift. Somebody told me to do it, and I was contributing. Yeah. It didn't remunerate me as much as I wanted. And also, I did a lot of mentoring and helping people. So I like mentoring. I'm contributing, but again, didn't remunerate me as what I wanted. So I had to move around here to where we've got contribution and work. Now, if I'd have stayed in accountancy, I'd be giving back and also I'd be providing for my family. But there wasn't the passion that I really wanted. Does that make sense? As a young child, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I found out that teachers didn't get remunerated the way I wanted to be remunerated. So I said I'm not going to be a teacher. But when I qualified as an accountant, one of the first things I recognized when they asked me to share with some of the students how I did it, when I was doing that first lecture, I went, whatever this thing is, this is what I want to do. Does that make sense? I'd qualified as an accountant, but I realized, whoa, this is what I like doing. It took me right back to where I wanted to be a teacher. Does that make sense? So you can provide for your family. Sometimes you're in a vocation, you're doing work that is not where your passion is. Your ladder, remember where I started? Your ladder is against the wrong building. And you keep going up that building. But one day you want to get to a place where your work and your gift coincides. But you can have your work and your gift coinciding and it not giving back to society as well. So where I come up with is actually the best place to be is where? Here. Where God has called you to be. You can get everything. You can have your gift and love doing it and give back to society and get paid for it. Wouldn't that be amazing? That every single day I'm doing what I love to do. I'm being paid for it at a level that is way above everyone else. And this is where we've got to get into our niche and into our gift, because I'm doing the thing that I do easily and effortlessly, but people are getting value for it because that's what God called me to do anyway. Does that make sense? And because God called me to do it, it means it's going to have some impact on this world that it was supposed to have. So you're now in the flow. And when you're in the flow, you are called according to purpose. I knew the thoughts I had for you even before you were in your mother's womb. So I started by saying, use what you are gifted at to do what you love to do by making a contribution in this world. But we've got to work. Some people think, when I finish and I've made all the money, I'm not going to work. I don't believe that. I think we will continually to do what we're gifted to do. We're not going to stop working because it isn't actually work. It is your purpose. So you will work diligently and earnestly. And this is the most important thing, because them top four, I've taught for years outside of the church about your sweet spot. Jim Collins will talk about it in Good to Great. But what they miss out is this last bit here. As you are called by God, and that's what takes you through a different dimension. So saints, hopefully tonight you've got a taster of what you should be doing to look at where your purpose is, so that happiness, contentment, hope comes from knowing that I'm not going towards a destination, but I'm living my purpose every single day. And that is what God called you to do. Can I get an amen? Any questions before we finish off? Is everybody okay? Remember I said there's going to be a bit of homework. So you spent an hour. Can you see there's lots of homework in this little book here? Yeah? there's more going through the questions diligently. And as I jokingly said, but this is sitting with your wife, your husband, and saying, look, what did you put? What your answer to your questions? So you get to know each other better. There's a lot just in this little pamphlet here for what you want to do about purpose. Okay, we're going to conclude and we will receive our offering. But I just want 3 statements from 3 different people about what they're going to do with tonight's session. They're going to speak it out and say, this is what I'm going to do. And then we're finished. Minister Marcia, first, the one thing you're going to do. Sister Delphine, and who else haven't spoke? But the head's going down like this. And I think I'm going to have the Queen at the back to finish us off. She's going to conclude.
So I've got to conclude basically what I'm going to do with what the information that was shared tonight. Okay. Well, I have a purpose thing at home. Yeah. So really tonight is just reviewing and what my purpose is, and it's become larger than life, basically. But one of the things that I've got in my mind is that you touched on who am I, because the things you do can change. Being a father, all those things you can do can change, but who you are, okay, is what takes you through your purposes. Because how I look at purpose now is completely different than how I looked at it 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So my sweet spot, my spot is God. That lights my passion, gives me pleasure, provides so I can touch the world, and pays me not just in money, but in different ways, lives being changed, in happiness, and which my purpose can change every day.
Applause. Did I say?
No, you didn't. Well, I think this has been a bit challenging for me. It's been good reviewing some of my thoughts, my values, because the values here are some of them are sort of like new for me. So I had to think through them properly in what I'm doing. I sort of have an idea of what, but I don't have so much clarity. So what I'm taking out of this is I'm going to work on this one. I'm using the strategy that you use something else, and then try to work on it as well, and come to a conclusion, come to a statement, because I see a trend in teaching, empowering, and traveling. Basically, I see the trends. So it's about how do I bring them all together.
Thank you very much. And I want to learn from this, both, because even if we haven't got it today, some of the questions will give you that trend, the teaching, the traveling, the empowering. It gives you a trend, you can start to think about it. Okay? And last at the back.
A lot of mine were around traveling and writing and working with young people, which is what I kind of do now, but I guess I don't push enough with writing because I travel all the time. And recently, one of the goals I had, I kind of put it to back burner, but it keeps coming to the forefront of my mind, which is to do with writing. So I feel like tonight I need to actually read in a bit more and actually do more with writing.
Okay, excellent. And I've got some writing if you want it. So, saints, shall we stand and we will receive our offering? Bishop, do you need to say anything? Or?
They tell me in training that the happiest person in the world is a person who's the center of God's will for their life. So if you find your purpose and in the center of God's will, you become the happiest person. So find your purpose and find happiness. As you said earlier.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Okay, let's just get our. Envelope, please. Thanks.